Hey there everybody, today we're going to be doing a quick screen replacement on an iPhone SE 2020 version. Let's go ahead and get started. So I already turned this phone off. I like to turn it off before I start. And then we'll go ahead and get these pentalobe screws from the bottom. Alright, once the pentalobes are out, we're going to put the screen towards us and we're going to enter from the bottom of the phone on the right hand corner. We're just going to put our pry tool in there and then turn it a little bit to get it to separate from the frame. We're just going to work our way down the right side of the phone, just turning this slightly to pop the screen frame from the housing. Now once we get all the way down the side, we're going to flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. This phone, you can tell, has already been opened before by somebody because the adhesive is not great. So once we have it from both sides, we're going to set it back down with the home button towards our left hand, put our tool in the top and pry forward just a little bit, enough to free the screen from the rest of the frame. Now we're going to flip the phone around so the home button is on our right hand, and we're going to open the phone away from us like a book. And I like to kickstand the screen on something right now so I can use both of my hands to work. You can really use anything for this. Now we're going to remove the plates. These are all Phillips screws. Make sure you keep these screws organized. You don't want to put the wrong screws into the wrong holes because you will damage the logic board. Alright, so now that we have the plates off of the phone, we want to immediately disconnect the battery. That's this connector right here in the middle of the three. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to fold that back just a tiny bit to get it out of the way. Now I'll disconnect the screen and the home button flex. Now also going to disconnect the ear speaker and front camera flex. Now the screen is liberated from the frame. We're going to set the frame to the side and then take the small parts off of the screen. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these 6 Phillips from the top of the phone. And as with everything, I'm just keeping these screws organized in the order that I take them out. Not only makes it less confusing for you, but God forbid something happens to you, somebody else can pick up where you left off without too much trouble. Okay. I like to take my tweezers and I'm going to dig them into the plastic frame underneath of this flex right here. And then I'm just going to pry up enough on this one corner until I can slide my tweezers through the little hole, and I'm going to peel that up off of there until just this part is separated from the board, just the part with the dots. Now I'm going to dig underneath of these carefully and just gently work them up off of there. Now the speaker is, or rather the microphone is double side taped onto here, so we just want to get under there and lightly pry up on it, and then this whole thing will fall away. Now let's set this to the side, and we're going to grab our Y screwdriver, and we're going to remove the home button bracket and the home button. All right, now carefully, we want to put our spudger in between the connectors and gently twist it. You'll hear them come unplugged, the connector from the home button connector. So same thing here with the home button as on the bracket. What I like to do is actually dig down into the plastic frame of the phone. Try to get this to autofocus. Yeah, dig down under and then pry up on this little nugget that goes, the alignment nugget that goes into the hole. Get your tweezers in that hole and just slowly use them as leverage to pry up, and the home button will come free. And then you can just pop it down through. And now this screen is ready to be recycled. So now we just got to do all of this in reverse with the new part. We're using the premium screens from our friends over at Phone LCD Parts. All right, so we'll peel the protective film from the back of the frame here. And now we're also going to peel the adhesive cover off of the microphone mount. And we're going to stick the small parts assembly back on there. So basically we want to take these, we just line them up with the little plastic frame and just lightly kind of push them down into the bracket and kind of work them back and forth with your thumb. You'll feel them go into place. You also at the same time want to be lining the bottom up with the nuggets that are the little nipples or nuggets or whatever that are sticking out of the screen there. So basically our finished product at this stage of just getting it stuck to the screen is that. Now we're going to put it down and we're going to put the speaker on there and then fold the front camera back over it, hold it in place, and then put the bracket into place. Alright, once the bracket is there, let's just put the Phillips screws back in it. I'm going to start from the right side and move to the left. That way, once you get the top 3 screws in, you can remove your finger. Top 2 screws, really. Sometimes you want to twist the screwdriver backwards to get, you'll hear a little click. That just gets the screw lined up evenly. It's easier to screw sometimes. That's why you'll generally see me just do like a half or a full twist backwards and then forward. So I know everything's going to be lined up. All right. That autofocus is not doing us any justice, but now let's go ahead and get this home button back in. So what I like to do is there's always a protective film on the screens when you get them. Push my nail through there and just fold it back enough for the home button. And then I'm gonna take this flex and fold it back as well. carefully. We're going to take the home button, put it in through the bottom. We're just going to sort of aim right for that little nugget. I'm making this much harder than it generally is or even needs to be. Alright, it's aligned with the nugget. And just push it over. And now plug these guys in. I like to plug them in this way so I can like look down at them to make sure that they're plugged in. Now, just make sure that the home button is sitting in there properly and flush. Then we can just set that plastic back over and it'll hold the home button from the back. Now let's go ahead and get this bracket back in here with the 4 Y screws. That guy lined up, there we go. Alright, there we are. So now the display assembly is reconstructed, we can reattach this to the phone. So we're going to put the phone back on the table here with the charging port towards our right hand. We're going to take this flex and we're going to fold it back like this. So if it's on the screen like this here, we want to fold it this way. So it's going to be like that there. We're going to flip the screen over. So now you see what I'm doing is I'm lining this up and then I'll put it down and kind of hold it so I can just push it forward to line it into the flex connector. And carefully plug it in. And you'll feel it go into place. Now once that's in place, we can move the screen forward and then reopen it like a book away from us. And plug in the home button flex and the screen flex. Once these are plugged in, we are ready to re-plug in the battery. So now we have the battery plugged in as well. We're going to put this back on the kickstand so I can use both of my hands again, and we're going to refix the plates. These are all Phillips screws. Alright, now that the plates are back, we're going to go ahead and close the phone, and we're going to put the top in first. So you'll see that the top is in, and the bottom and the sides are out. We want to push it up a little bit so the top is flush with the frame. And now work in the bottom. And then push the sides. You want to do the bottom just enough to where the bottom frame is in the frame. And then you push the sides and it'll make it go into the frame down. The reason I do it this way is because if the frame is like distorted slightly in any way, it makes it much easier to get the screen to sit back into it. Okay, so now that this device is reassembled, I'm going to turn it on. Once we see the Apple logo appear, we'll go ahead and put in the pentalobes. Those are good. All right, now test. Everything is working. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for checking us out. Check out our website, TechIT.pw, and have a great rest of your day.